with us now to break some of this down is Republican Kansas Congressman Derek Schmidt. He sits on both the House Armed Services Committee and the Judiciary Committee. Thank you for being with us, Congressman. The House is currently on recess, but before leaving, passed its own plan, slightly different from the version your colleagues in the Senate passed early this morning. Do you think this plan passes in the House?
Well, I hope so. You know, our version in the House was truly a clean extension. There were no what they call anomalies. There were no add-ons that were put in. It was just keep the current funding levels in place while we work out the rest of the annual appropriation bills, at least in December. The Senate, of course, being the Senate, had to add on a few of their own fingerprints to it. And so we're going to have to take a look at what they added. But I'm hopeful that what they added isn't enough to sink the deal. I would very much like to get this sort of safety net in place so that we don't have a disruption in services Americans rely on while we get through the election and also work out our differences on particular spending programs.
So this week, several states are holding primary elections. Both parties obviously watching closely to see which candidates will make it on the ballot in November. When it comes to the Democratic Party, we are seeing a call for unity despite these divisions between moderates and progressives. 2028 possible presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg rallied with Michigan Senate nominee Abdul El-Sayed. I want you to listen to this. He's pledging to bring the party together. Listen to what he said.
There's a lot of folks asking questions, people who did not vote the way we would have liked them to vote the last few times. And the time has come to reach out to them, and we are not there to say we told you so. We are there to say those guys don't deserve you. Join us, and together let's do something better.
So interesting to see Buttigieg there, kind of view him, I've always viewed him as sort of a moderate, now with El-Sayed, who is clearly not a moderate. But how do Republicans sort of counter this narrative?
Well, I think the facts speak for themselves. You know, there have been, I think it's now 7 Democrat incumbent House members who have lost their primaries, and in every case, they've lost to somebody challenging them from their left. You know, that party is taking a hard left turn. The face of it is people like Mondami and this new fellow in Michigan who just got their Senate nomination. And, you know, they're true believers on the left. They want to fundamentally alter the American system. And I understand why people like, you know, Pete Buttigieg or others, you know, want to portray it as all sunshine and roses. But the fact of the matter is they have functionally a political civil war going on in the Democrat Party. And right now, the hardcore are winning. Look, when you've got people like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer who are starting to look like the moderates in their party, and they're going to have a problem holding on to their leadership positions and keeping their conference from veering off to the left on policy, you know that's a party in trouble.
Yeah, and you know, the candidates don't even want like Schumer's endorsement anymore, which is interesting to think about. They want to like stay as far away as possible.
Absolutely.
Next month, Republicans will hold the party's first ever midterm convention in Dallas, and there are reports that there will be what they're calling a socialism telethon at the event. Is holding the midterm convention the right answer, do you think, to sway voters ahead of the midterms?
Well, the president's had this idea for a long time, has been talking about it for months. I'm glad it's going to happen. It's new, it's novel. There's nothing wrong with it, and I think it has the potential to really create a platform to focus voters on, you know, what the choice is here. I mean, there's always the individual dynamics in every single race, but there's a bigger picture involved as well. And the bigger picture is which direction do we want the country to go? I think most voters, certainly in places I represent, are going to want to continue us on the path of lower taxes, trying to control runaway spending, lesser regulation, trying to make sure we do common sense public policy like no men and women's sports, trying to make sure we secure the border. That's the direction we've been moving. They're going to want to keep going that way, not the alternative. And I think the convention is going to really highlight that sort of fundamental difference.
Last week, your state held its primary election where you won against your GOP challenger. Congratulations. What message do you have for the voters in your district heading into the midterms, and what pushed you over the line?
Well, look, we're making progress. It's a very noisy time in American politics. It's a noisy time in our discourse. There's lots of reasons for that, but one of them we don't talk about very much is the fact that we are actually getting things done. One of the reasons that our discourse is so noisy is we have, in fact, secured the border. We're not allowing folks to just flow over it, and a lot of people are unhappy about that on the left. One of the reasons that things are so noisy is we have actually, for the first time in modern history, curtailed the growth in federal spending, and there are a lot of people unhappy about that on the left. One of the reasons it's so noisy is we actually did result in a lower federal tax burden, and a lot of people on the left are unhappy about that. They thought this was going to be business as usual. They thought it was going to be another short period where Republicans controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency. We wouldn't get very much done, and eventually Democrats would win back some control. But the fact of the matter is we're doing what we promised, and I think that's where voters want us to go.
Well, Congressman, sorry, what was the last thing you said? I missed that.
That's why they hired us. That's why the voters put us there.
Congressman, appreciate you for coming on, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, voters in